Okay. One, two, three. Oh, Jordan. Charvel, good to see you. Been a while since I've seen you run around.
Yes, it has been. It's good. It's good to be around.
Yeah. One of these days, actually get to see you in person, I guess. See a lot of folks in person one of these days.
Yeah, yeah. This is a new experience here.
Yeah. It's not new enough. I wish this thing was over with.
My wife says to tell you hi, Dr. Harvey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been thinking about it a little bit, and till I just learned her real name.
Uh-oh. Yeah. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know what it really is.
Well, it's good because I was looking for her, and I said, "No, where is she?" So
she's still working.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I have 5:30, so I guess we'll call this meeting to order. And tonight I'll call a roll. I'm almost learned how to do. I saw a finger that may stop.
Yeah, let me get a second. Let me turn the sound's not working in the courtroom. Give me about 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, how we doing?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
We hear you, man.
Yeah, we got thumbs up. Okay. There's too many buttons to push around here.
Yeah, I just have 2, and that's too many sometimes, you know. I'll go back and call a roll now if we're ready, Mayor. We're ready.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Watkins.
Here.
Mr. Norton.
Here.
Mr. Reeves, Dale Reeves.
Here.
Commissioner Walker. Commissioner, I saw his lips move. Commissioner Jordan.
Here.
Commissioner Jordan.
Yeah.
I think that's everyone that I have on my list. Tonight we have the huge school board people with us and a couple of amendments to their budget. And I don't know whether Dr. Hamlet or Dr. Harvey, is it Dr. Harville? I don't know if it's Dr.
No.
It's not a doctor on my screen. I'll give you credit for doctor anyway. But.
Okay, I'll take it. I'm taking honorary degrees.
You didn't say We'll let y'all have the floor. Whoever wants to talk and discuss these to us amendments on 141.
I just wanted to say good afternoon. And yes, Mr. Harville is the expert of all. And so I will let him have the floor.
Thank you.
All right. So we have several amendments related to 141. All of our amendments that were presented tonight will be amendments that are going to add revenues to our budget. They are grant revenues, whether they be state or federal. And so, you know, that's a good thing. We're adding money to our budget and for grants that have already been approved through the state. The first grant that we have is Coordinated School Health Grant. And this is a grant that promotes health service for students and families. In this particular grant, we're actually moving funds around to make some additional purchases. Again, the grant has already been approved through the state for those changes. And so we're just moving lines around and it doesn't impact the total as far as the grant is concerned, the total grant amount. That's coordinated school health grant. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into these amendments, so if I don't have enough information, just ask, and I'll stop and provide any information in regards to questions.
You're free to do whatever you want to, unless we have some questions. It doesn't look like any fund balances were affected that I was looking at. So
yeah, and none of these budget amendments will impact fund balance. And like I said, they all are amendments for grants that we're adding to the budget, or changes within that budget that's already been grant budget has already been approved and received from the state. The next amendment is Gear Up. We are increasing the amount of that grant by $42,223.58. And this grant promotes graduation and college attendance. And you can see the lines that we are increasing related to travel, and also instructional materials and supplies. The Lottery for Education After School program is a grant for after school and summer programs that we have at Fairware and East. We're decreasing this grant by $706. We're also moving some lines within the grant so that the net impact is a zero as far as change is concerned. The 21st Century Community Learning Center grant is a before and after school and summer program for the elementary and West Junior High. We are adding $32,229.35 to the budget for that particular grant. We're also moving some lines around within the grant project itself. Monsanto is a foundation grant for the purpose of providing STEM in the schools. And we are adding this to our budget of $15,052.66. And this money is to be used to purchase instructional materials and supplies and instructional equipment related to STEM. The Remote Learning and Technology Grant, we're adding to our budget in the amount of $128,216.25. And this grant is used to purchase computers for the district. Computers as well as other technology items. The School Safety Grant, this grant, we're just moving funds around within the grant, a decrease of $9,200, and in other supplies and materials, and an increase in administration equipment of $9,200. And this grant provides access controls, two-way radios for the buildings and cameras. The final 141 amendment that we have tonight is for the voluntary pre-K grant. This is a preschool grant that furnishes 6 classrooms, and we are increasing the revenue by $9,405.47. And you see that we're adding money for teacher salaries as well as other contracted services and some for the supervisor director. So that is the sum of the 141 budget amendments. Again, they all are adding, to the most part, are adding revenues to the grant. None are using any type of fund balance, and they are all an attempt to stay within the total grant budget.
any questions, Mr. Harville?
Yeah,
On the
Norton.
141?
Yeah, Commissioner Norton. Good afternoon, Mr. Harville.
Good afternoon.
These line items that you're decreasing, first off, I want to make sure that I understand that the explanation says
Okay.
that the adjustments were necessary to make the approved county commission budget match the E-plan budget.
That's correct. Mhm.
Okay, now understanding that we kind of got to match what we did last year, we have to do again. Are you saying that the county commission is to approve a higher budget figure now?
No, sir. All of these, that is there because, again, all of the funding for the school board has to be approved by the county commission. And,
Exactly.
but also, these grant budgets are placed in E-plan and have been approved by the state. And so what we have to do is make sure that we bring those two things in alignment so that as we receive funding from the state for a particular grant, that we also bring it before the county commission in order to add it to our budget.
Right.
Carvel,
But go ahead,
let me
man.
jump in real quick. E-plan is a foreign term to them.
Okay.
And y'all deal with that all the time, but if you could just sort of give a quick synopsis of what that is, that may help explain a lot.
Okay, so E-plan is the state's grant accounting system. All of the grants that we receive through the state, we have to input it into this portal called E-plan. And in the process of doing this, we put our budgets in. We say, tell the state how we're going to spend these funds, and then the state will either approve or disapprove the budget that we put in. They will ask us to tweak it. They will then, once they have done that, they will sign off on it to say that, okay, it is these state funds are being used properly. Therefore, you can spend those dollars. And at that point, we take it back to the school board to say, okay, the state has approved this budget and it's good. And so now we'll have to take it before the county commission so that we can add it to our budget once the school board approves it.
Okay. One other item that I may want some clarification on. You're decreasing line items as we go through here.
Yes.
And increasing, they all come out into a wash.
Yes.
But I'm confused as to things like you've got administration costs that you're decreasing $9,200 out of. Am I to assume then that we have over budgeted that line item? And
well, no, sir, not necessarily. And if you'll tell me which one you're looking at in particular.
Well, I was looking at 141. The line account number 72620-701, for example.
141. Okay, could you tell me what it says up at the top for grant?
The school safety grant. I'm sorry.
School safety grant. Okay, school safety grant. Okay, so on the school safety grant, in this particular case, we had money in for other materials and supplies. Now, some of these grants, we have to spend all of the money. And so what the plan that we may start out with in basically in April may not be the plan that we end up with when we get to June. In this particular case, the plan that we had, we made some changes. It's still within the parameters of what the state will allow. And so we move money from other supplies and materials to purchase administration equipment. Now that administration equipment is actually equipment for access controls to get into a building. So our plans shifted a little bit from where we started at the beginning of the year based on need.
Okay, so I guess what I'm hearing is that you didn't know about the grant before. And now that you've got the grant, it appears that in that line, in the other supplies and materials, initially, when you proposed budget to this county commission, you over budgeted that line by $9,200. If not, you wouldn't be needing to decrease it.
No, what we're doing is we're moving the money so that we can spend it in the administration and equipment. So we had $9,200 supplies, say for key cards and other supplies and materials that we were going to purchase. Well, in the process of going through the year, it was identified that, hey, instead of doing key cards, let's do, like I said, access controls or maybe two-way radios or something like that, because we need some, some additional radios. Well, what happens at that particular point, we send it back to the state to say, okay, we want to move this money from this other supplies and materials, and we want to put it in administration equipment for radios. The state says, okay, that is an allowable cost within the grant, and so it is okay for you to do that. They sign off saying, giving us their blessing. And so at that particular point, we go back through the process of saying, okay, now we are amending our budget so that we can put funds in administration equipment, because there are things that we want to purchase related to administration equipment that's not, materials and supplies. And so now, like I said, we're kind of going full circle in terms of bringing it back to the commission to say, okay, we want to amend our budget for this grant. The state has already signed off on it saying that it's okay. And we want to move this money from materials and supplies to administration equipment.
Right. I've understood every bit of that. And okay. Please realize that I realize once we've given you the money, it's yours. You do whatever you want to with it. I fully understand that.
Right.
What I'm having an issue with is other supplies and materials. You got $9,200 that at the beginning of the year, you came to us and said, we got things we want to buy with $9,200 in this line item. Now, what I'm hearing is you no longer want to buy that stuff. Correct. And to me, that equates to over budgeting the line item.
No, that doesn't equate to over budgeting the line item. What it does, it equates to a change in process. For example, if the county commission at this particular point had a need to purchase 25 police cars, was not in the budget initially. 24 of them were involved in a wreck. Okay, we got to have some more police cars. We didn't budget for those police cars, but because of what happened, we now have to make a change. And so what we're going to do as the county commission or as the mayor's office or any other department within the county, we're going to say, okay, we're going to move money from here to take care of this need, because that was not a need that we had at the beginning of the year. But because of circumstances and things that have happened, this is what's more important. So this budget amendment is not any different from any of the amendments. Actually, it's just maybe just a little bit different. It's not any different from any of the other amendments that you give where departments come in and they say, because we had something to come up, we need to move some money over here. Where this could be a little bit different is that in the process of doing this, we have to go to the state first to say, can we move the money? Whereas, say, the sheriff's department will come directly to the commission and say, we need to approve money for overtime for our officers. We didn't have this total amount in the budget, but because somebody's been out sick, we've got to have additional funding for that. So it's not that we have over budgeted, it's the fact that we are having a change in program, a change in direction.
Okay, well, I understand. I understand what you're telling me, and I just wanted you all to understand that what my constituents look at is that sounds like money they didn't need anyway, because they don't need it now. If they needed it then, how come they don't need it now? But however, you're explaining it very well. I'll give you that. You did very well. And I just want to make sure that those that are listening, my constituents anyway, get a full understanding of why it is that you ask for this amount of money, but you're not going to use it for what you said you were going to use it for.
Okay, and also I want you to remember also that this is a state grant. This is not coming from the tax dollars. This is a state grant that the state has given to Fayette County Board of Education to utilize for school safety. And so the money is being utilized for school safety. It may not be utilized for some of the initial activity identified, but it is still being utilized for school safety and within the parameters of the grant.
Sure, I understand that. That's great. You did a great job on that. Thanks for getting the money.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We need to vote on these separately, Mayor?
You can probably catch them all in one vote if you want to.
All right. Dr. Arbell, if you want to explain some of the others, that'd be great, or just do whatever you feel you need to do, or there may be some more questions anyway.
Okay.
I still see no fund balance effective.
Again, none of these on the federal side will impact fund balance because they are all federal funds. And so, and again, each one of these budgets, there is a limitation on how much money that you can spend. So you cannot overspend the budget itself for federal programs and your state grants. There's no wiggle room with that. You have X amount of dollars and you have to spend X amount of dollars. So the first amendment that we have is for consolidated administration, subfund 010. Now, this is a grant within the federal programs that helps to administer federal grants. And as you can see, it is funded partially from, well, primarily it's funded from allocations from other grant programs. So you see money coming from Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, and there's actually 2 Title IV grants involved there. So we have an increase in the consolidated administration subfund, which would be equivalent to a budget in itself, and you can see where those funds are being utilized. You also can see a change again in the plan where we have some increases and decreases. The net impact is going to be 0. Under Title I, we have a decrease in the Title I revenues. And again, the net impact for this is 0, and we're moving funds within Title I to cover various program activities. We're increasing some technology, some contracts for informational services, instructional services, adding money for tutors. And again, this is a grant that again was put in place early. Our allocations change, and again, our processes change as far as the direction that we wanted to go. Subfund 172, District Priority School Improvement Grant. This is a grant that provides school improvement funds for LaGrange, Moscow. And y'all forgive me if I mispronounce that. But again, these are grants for LaGrange, and is to assist in improving the instructional program at LaGrange. And this particular grant, we're adding $196,556 for one particular grant related to improvement there. And then we're adding another $199,360.56 for a total increase of $395,917. This grant is a carryover from the previous year, so you have the current year funds as well as carryover from the previous year for LaGrange. Subfund 173 is for materials. We're adding $594.89 for instruction supplies and materials. Okay. Subfund 174 is a grant for West Junior High School, and we're adding $30,355 of revenue to this technology, regular instructional equipment, $29,893, and various travel and supplies and materials. Title IX, McKinney-Vento, Subfund 190 is for homeless youth in the community. We're adding $46,466.29. This grant provide for those students that have been identified as homeless and will assist them with purchase of clothing as well as computers and instructional materials and supplies. Subfund 201, teacher training. We're adding $58,424.51. This grant provides money to provide training for teachers, stipends and incentives to hire hard to staff positions such as math and foreign language. So we're adding $58,424.51 for that. Title III is English as a second language. We're adding $4,297.13, and we're going to purchase books, flashcards, and charts for our students that have English as a second language. Subfund 440, we're adding $62,270.64. This grant is for well-rounded, safe, and healthy students, as well as enrichment and using technology. And so we're adding $62,270.64, and a lot of these funds are used for our decathlon team, as well as other after-school programs, and also pays fees for examinations for students. Subfund 600, teacher leader and instruction materials, we're adding $24,396.52. And so this grant provides for technology, equipment, stipends for teachers, enrichment trips for students, as well as teacher leaders. Subfund 710, Project Aware. This grant provides for mental and emotional support for students and the parents. And so we're increasing the budget by $107,812.63. And so again, the money is used to purchase materials and supplies for communications and letting people know about mental health and outreach and mental health awareness for our students as well as for their parents. 801, Carl Perkins. This grant provides career and technical instruction, and we have a decrease in this particular grant of $3,920.47. I believe we're going to have some money that we'll be able to add back, but at this particular point, we have a decrease of $3,920.47. And as you can see, the changes that we made in some lines, as well as to cover that decrease, but the net impact is that the grant total is still the same. Carl Perkins Reserve is a grant that is an additional grant we've gotten related to career and technical, And this grant is used to purchase laptops and provide for dual enrollment for students. The amount is $49,467 that we're adding to the budget. The IDA discretionary grant, 890, we are increasing it by $4,284.45, and it provides support for our students with disabilities in the age group of 6 to 21. Subfund 900 grant, we have a couple of components with that. We have a compensatory grant of $21,692.19 that's being added, a CCEIS grant of $110,000. And so, but we're also decreasing our IDAB funds. And so the net impact then is an increase in revenues of about $73,000. And the total increases and decreases in the budget, again, you can see that we're at $420,977.42. The IDA pre-K is for our students with disabilities in the pre-K age span. We're adding $22,223.54 to the grant. And you can see we're purchasing some educational equipment as well as having some materials and supplies for instruction for those students. So that's the final 142 amendment. Like I said, the good thing and the good news is that we're adding money to the budget through these grants, and they're providing a lot of opportunities for our students.
Looks like you earned a keep this month.
Yeah, you did. Thank you, Mr. Harville. Appreciate it. Any other questions for Mr. Harville? Yeah, I don't know if we've ever had that much detail into budget amendments, but thank you. We appreciate it much.
All right.
Great
As
job.
long as it comes back next month, the same amount, it'll be good.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
What's the wish of the committee? We want to send these to budget for an approval? Need a motion.
I make a
No.
motion to approve and send them on the budget.
And
Motion made, a second.
Norton is saying that.
Norton, a second. All in favor, say aye. Or we got a roll call.
No,
Oh, we got a roll call deal. Watkins, you in favor or against this motion? Watkins,
I'm against it.
I didn't hear him. Against it?
I'm against it, right.
Norton,
aye.
Reeves,
For it.
Walker,
Yes,
Jordan.
Yeah.
Motion passes. We'll send that to budget with one against, Watkins against. Anything else needs to come before the committee?
That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Well, again, we thank you, Mr. Harville, for that presentation for us. And with that, we will adjourn.
So move.